Hi everyone, welcome to Haley's Fitness Training and Academy. How would you like to know one perfect way on how you can actually sell personal training to your clients with an exact sales script? How does that sound to you? My name is Helios D'Souza and I am the founder and director of my brand Haley's Fitness Training and Academy. And today I'm going to teach you something called as the personal training sales script or the PT sales script. Now what actually happens is that generally when you have a client coming into the gym, you tend to have a trial session, or it's called as an induction session, where you have either one or two personal training sessions which are generally complementary. So this is a time where you actually tend to impress the client by giving them exactly what your talent is or exactly what your expertise is. And you're able to train them and show them exactly what you have to offer if they take personal training after the induction sessions are over. So you have either one or two sessions which are a golden opportunity for you in order for you to be able to try and convince and show some form of value to your clients. But the thing is, the biggest challenge is what happens after that. How do personal trainers try and convert a client and help them make a perfect sale? Now, what I've done is I've come out with two phases, the phase one and phase two. The phase one, you have building a good rapport. I'm going to explain about it right now. Identifying reasons and the asks and the questions. Now, let's take the first thing in the beginning. It's building rapport. Now, I feel this is one of the most important things, because if you don't really have a rapport with a client, the client is definitely not going to take your services no matter how good you are. Okay, and it is a study that has been said, it's been done, a lot of research is done on it, and it says that a potential client tries and gauges about a salesperson within the first 70 seconds whether they would take personal training or whether they would take their product that they're actually trying and selling. So it's very important you actually have the right rapport, and I spoke a lot about rapport in my classes earlier, and I will definitely make another video on rapport. But for now, I just want to tell you rapport plays a very important role. So ensure you build a good rapport with your client before you move to the next step. Okay? The next thing is being able to identify the reasons as to why the client is actually there taking personal training. Okay, so the thing is, regardless of the reasons, what you would do generally in an induction session is maybe try and have a fitness assessment, try and see the client's stamina or the client's strength, or maybe look for muscle imbalances in the client and figure out exactly what the client needs to work on. So you see, I'm talking about the needs here. But generally what happens is that apart from the needs, there are certain things that a client wants. Now the wants are very different from the needs, and you need to be able to differentiate that. So you need to actually address the wants of the clients, and when the clients really are convinced that you're able to provide for the wants, then simultaneously you'll be able to work on the needs. So what are the wants that are normally there in a client? Generally what happens is that the wants would be, through my experience, it is mostly fat loss. I want to lose weight, I want to actually get thin, or maybe let's say I want to build a bit of muscle, I'm too skinny, I need to just put on some muscle. So most of the time it's about those things. You never hear a client coming and saying, I want to take personal training because I want to fix my muscle imbalances. My posterior chain is very tight, my glutes are very tight, I want to release my glutes, and that's the reason why I'm investing in a trainer. Now that happens, but majority, 99% of the time, it's all about the aesthetics. So try and focus on those topics in the beginning, and you can always work on the needs later. So once you find out the reasons as to why they're there, your next question would definitely be about the when exactly, asking certain questions, to be honest. Okay, let's say for example they say that I want to lose weight. So your first question would be to them, when did you actually decide that you wanted to take action and actually come and get this done? Okay, so what happens is that the need to actually lose weight may have been there way in advance, much earlier, but there would have been at one phase of time where they decided that, oh, you know what, I need to take action right now and actually go to a gym and get into personal training. So you need to find out exactly what that time is and what that reason is. Now the reasons are very important. So when you actually figure that out, it actually gives you certain cues which you can use while you're trying to close the deal at the end when we talk about phase 2, okay? So you understood building rapport, you understood identifying the reasons, and now the wants and the questions also you have understood. So once you finish asking all these open-ended questions as to why the client is actually there, what is the reason they want to get into these sort of things, the personal training and stuff, then you move to the phase 2 part of it, where you look at the commitment, the costing, and the closing. Now this is where the actual big deal happens, okay? So what do I mean when I say the commitment? The commitment generally happens where you need to be able to get the client to commit to a smaller goal rather than something very big, all right? So what would be a big commitment? A big commitment would be something like, I need to be able to get into a fitness competition which is a year from now. So that's 1 year from now. So what happens is that when a client really has something that's a very long commitment initially, the need is not really strong. It's very vague. Sometimes it could be very general. But when you are able to sell something that has a shorter goal, a shorter commitment, the chances for the client to take it up are much higher. So you want to start asking your questions again. All right. So what kind of question would you ask at this point of time to gauge the commitment? Simply ask a client, if I had to magically able to help you out with something really quick right now, what would it be? What is the one quick fix that you would really want that I will be able to help you with? Most of the time, the client would be, you know what, I want to lose a bit of belly fat. My arms are a little too flabby. I want to work on those things. So great. So that's another cue. So you could always tell them, we will work on the longer goals of you getting into competition or whatever the longer goals are. But let's look for something that you can actually work on in the beginning, something that is a little shorter goals. So that's when you can actually talk about your maybe 3-month program or maybe a 4-month program or whatever the programs that you actually have. So your goals will be something like, I want to just fit into my jeans, you know, or maybe I just want to get ready for a wedding. My friend's wedding is coming up and I really want to look very nice for the wedding. So that would be something where you can really sell a shorter commitment. The chances of them taking that up are actually greater because the cost would be a little more cheaper. So let's get to the costing part. Now the costing part is where you need to really charge a price that isn't too expensive, but at the same time you're able to deliver value. Okay, now what happens most of the time, that is where you get a lot of barriers from the client. Okay, what are some of the barriers that happen and why are the barriers coming in? Okay, so generally when you say, okay, so these are my rates for 12 sessions or 36 sessions, and they say, you know what, I need to think about it, I need to get back. And what is the reason that the clients would say something like, I want to think about it or I want to get back? The thing is, most of the time, majority of the time, they didn't see value in what you are trying to offer them. Okay, so why is the reason I would give my money to you in order for your services? That reason is not strong enough. Even if they have the money, they're not convinced that they want to actually take it up. So how would you actually convince them? You should be able to convince them by simply showing and putting more emphasis on the value that you're actually providing in your packages. What kind of value can we actually give it? See, there's a difference between what you can do for them and there's a big difference as to what they would gain from it. Always ensure you focus on what they can gain from it because they always want to know what is in it for me. If you're able to convince them on that, then tell them the value of the product is so and so, or they might themselves say, wow, this is an amazing deal. I would really don't mind spending a lot of money on it. But then when you actually offer them something that's really affordable, you know, they're very surprised because, wow, you know, such an amazing concept for so cheap. So the chances of them actually taking the product are much higher. The last part is the close. Now the closing part is where most people make mistakes and most people get an answer such as, I need to think about it, or I need to sleep over it, I'll come back, I need to ask my husband, or I need to ask my wife. Why does that actually happen? That actually happens because your closing is very generalized, okay? You always talk about the product and then you say, so what do you think about it? So when you say something like that, they'll always come back saying, I need to think about it and I'll get back to you. But for example, what if you actually say this? You know what, sir, I actually, based on what we discussed right now and based on what you actually said, I would recommend you to take the mid-level program, which is a 3-month program, or maybe even just a 1-month program to see how things are going. Between these two things, I think what you should be actually taking up is a 3-month program. And then just keep quiet. Don't say anything. Because what actually happens then is that they think about it and they will say either, yes, I think you're right, let me take it, because you were more specific about what exactly you were talking about, okay? And when you tell them exactly what they need, the chance of them taking up are much higher. They'll say, okay, great, let's go for the 1-month package. Or great, let's go for the 3-month package. But in case they still say no, don't worry about it. I'm going to make another video on how to actually tackle certain negative responses that come from clients. Okay, so just to recap, first build a rapport, identify the reasons, ask the questions and what exactly their wants are, figure out these things, then move to the commitment part, the phase 2. Okay, the commitment is very important. You should be able to speak to them about making sure that they take a smaller commitment first. Okay, then the costing, talk about the costing, make sure you add a lot of value into it, and eventually the close. Make sure you close the right way by telling them exactly what they should be taking, rather than explaining everything and then keeping quiet and expecting them to answer. For more information on things like this, you can either do my TAP program if you've not done them before. I have a level 1 program, which is a free program. You can always take it up. Contact me on 9867999088. And don't forget to put +91. And thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed what I spoke about and definitely try it out. Bye.